to.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay, so this is the finals. Alright, so this is the finals of the PC between Alicia and Trolls. So let's update this.
You know, I actually watched them battle in Montclair for 2000, the end of 2015.
And what happened there?
Oh, David won, but still, he sat there. It was an exciting. I like David's facial expressions.
Yeah.
Because you see the thought process, the intensity,
Yeah.
and then the relief, and then the analyzation. I mean, he just, you see exactly what's going on in his head through his facial expressions, and I love it because it makes him a real player to me, like somebody who's just all about Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
Oh, obviously, he wouldn't have started this Twitch account. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
But he is, to have lost to David is a win for me. Okay, that's how
Alright.
that's how good.
Okay, so let's see.
So we've seen both their teams now.
Yeah. Well, let's remind these guys. Alicia's running Kangaskhan, Crobat, Groudon, Cresselia, Ferrothorn, Xerneas, while David has Groudon, Tornadus, Kyogre, Cresselia, Smeargle, and that's a cute Pikachu. Alright, so let's see who.
I think David will bring the Kyogre Groudon.
So David is going to lead with Smeargle Kangaskhan. That's always a dangerous lead.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, you know, in that second battle, you know, I didn't know if he was going to bring the Smeargle Kangaskhan. The Smeargle anticipated, but that second round, that's why I brought Talonflame.
yeah.
I was like,
Oh yeah. Yeah, that took it out really.
it was
right
not
away.
an issue,
Yeah,
and I
nice.
knew it wouldn't be. So, I mean, it's technically, I mean, when I saw this the second round, I anticipated that.
Yeah.
So,
Alright, so let's see here. We see David going for the Mega Evolution on Kangaskhan, as expected. Let's see. Xerneas goes for the Protect on Alicia's side.
okay.
Cresselia going for the Magic Coat.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful.
interesting move. Kangaskhan goes for the Fake Out onto Cresselia. Okay. Alright, doing about
And let's see if this
15-20%.
Void
And
comes
Dark
back.
Void from Smeargle, but it bounces back onto...
Wow.
And it misses
Wow.
both!
Oh,
Wow.
my gosh.
For once, that 85% accuracy is working on Smeargle's favor, I guess.
Wow, so
Wow.
that was a really, really great turn for Alicia. Unfortunately for her,
Yeah.
the Dark Void missed on both players. But Magico is a really, really interesting move. You saw she use it the game against me in top 4.
Want to get a chair, Mom?
It's okay, you can stay. It's okay. For those of you that don't know, Magic Coat will.
Talking to you.
For those of you who don't know, Magic Coat is a move that bounces back any status moves. So things like Taunt, like you saw hit there, and Dark Void will essentially block the opponent from getting statused, and then it'll reverse it back to the user. So you saw there Smeargle used Dark Void, and it failed on the Cresselia and the Xerneas that did protect. And it went back to the Smeargle and Kangaskhan. So she would have been in a lot better position that she is now. Essentially, it's just a dead turn, with Cresselia getting a little bit of chip damage. But now the Smeargle seems pretty somewhat useless unless Alicia decides to not go for the Magic Coat like she did, and Dark Void comes out. Is it gonna hit both of his Pokemon?
Oh, Cresselia
Cresselia avoids, but Kangaskhan, that is the main threat that Alicia just switched in, and that's gonna fall asleep as Kangaskhan just goes for the double edge. On the Kangaskhan slot, so that's gonna do a lot. Oh, it's gonna leave it in the red. Wow.
Oh yeah, that is
And
definitely
Cresselia goes for the
unfortunate
Trick Room, so that's gonna be... now that she has speed control, that's definitely gonna put that in favor of that Cresselia, since it's the slowest thing on the field right now.
But you think about it, when you have that Smeargle with the double void, David was, it's almost very risky to want to do that knowing the Magic Coat could just come right back at you. So, given in that scenario, it's like, he obviously played his advantage in this turn. But had it gone terribly wrong, I think Alicia would have had the complete control of that round. And then again, Trick Room the next turn. So it's one of those things where you're like, wow, that could have gone either way with just one single decision.
Right, and it's really tough because Magic Coat is a turn that can only be used once. Like basically, you have to use it every turn. Unlike a move like Safeguard, where you use it once and it lasts throughout the 5 turns, you kind of have to predict when your opponent is going to use a status-like move, like Dark Void, and you have to keep using Magic Coat. So I'm sure Alicia wanted to get the best out of her turns, which, unfortunately for her, didn't for her Kangaskhan, but she did get the Trick Room off. So she made use of what she wanted to do with Cresselia, and Kyogre takes the place of Smeargle, probably because David wants to save it for later.
Yeah, definitely. Once that Cresselia is out of the way, he's just going to have that in the background.
So let's see.
So Magico comes off. Alicia doesn't want to take another
Dark Void.
Another Dark Void, right. But, okay, so Kangaskhan's going to take that. That's the first turn of Sleep.
Onto Cresselia. That did an okay amount.
Let's see what Kyogre
And the
does.
Citrus Berry comes out from Cresselia, bringing it back to about 60% HP.
Right. Given that he's got the Heavy Rain out this turn, I really feel like David is just mowing.
So David was allowed to get 2 very powerful attacks with Double Edge, and at the cost of that, it took away half of its health. But the damage has been done already, as Alicia's Kangaskhan is still asleep and in the red. Cresselia took a lot from that. That just goes to show how much Cresselia is a monster, because it took that like a champ, and now we see it back at above 50%, thanks to the Citrus Berry.
Now, we actually lost connection in your last battle with Alicia for about half the battle. Is her...
Oh, me?
Yeah, you're talking to you, Riley.
Okay.
Is her Kang max speed?
I believe her King is not max speed,
Okay.
because my Groudon did outspeed it when there was a turn where I used Super Fang on it with Crobat, and then I used Eruption. I was kind of scared that her Kangaskhan was going to go first,
Right.
and use Return, and Eruption wouldn't
that's
do
kind of
much.
where I'm seeing this, too. The Trick Room's up. If her
Right.
Kang is slower,
Right?
it possibly could wake up right now.
Mm-hmm.
So at least it can, if not do a KO, just hit hard back and then see you later. That'll list leader. It won't be an overwhelming defeat.
Well, it does have a pretty good chance to wake up this turn, as Alicia sends out Groudon in place of Cresselia.
Excellent.
That is a really good play
It
if
was.
Kyogre decided to use a Water-type move. But Kangaskhan's going to switch out. David probably wants to save it for later. He's probably anticipating Kangaskhan to maybe wake up and go for a low kick. But unfortunately for Alicia, Kangaskhan takes another turn of sleep. As Kyogre goes for the Ice Beam, it probably anticipated that the Groudon switch was going to come in. So a Water-type move would have failed. So David got the best of his turn with his Kyogre by going for the
That's
Ice
good
Beam.
thinking. That's good thinking. You got some chip damage on there. Oh, well, we're still being recorded though, so people can hear us.
My neck hurts.
You sure you want to grab a turn?
No, I'm just saying you guys.
Okay.
Hey, what's going on here? Oh, guys.
We've had some technical difficulties, guys. Sorry.
I don't know what's going on.
Is there a way to reconnect? I don't want to close anything out.
Did we just get disconnected from the 3DS?
Oh man.
Looks like that's kind of what happened.
Did the thing come out of the computer?
What do you mean when just on events? You can't do anymore.
We're frozen.
Yeah, the 3DS screen froze.
Is it the 3DS or is it the internet?
Internet connection?
Because look,
No,
the
it's-
chat got disabled, right?
No,
Well, the chat's been disabled.
no, yeah, it's not the internet connection. It's the connection to the 3DS.
Well, I was still connected to the internet. Is it still connected to Twitch? Still not up. Oh, so it is.
Alright, hang on, guys. Just give us a second. There we go. There we go. Alright, and we're back. Let's see. It looks like Kyogre came back in for a second and took some damage, but I'm assuming that Cresselia went for a skill swap and got the Desolate Land back up instead of the rain. And now let's see. David has Kyogre, Tornadus out, and Alicia has Groudon, Cresselia with the sun back up. So yeah, it was definitely a skill swap to Groudon.
Yes, you know what? That's the first time I've seen that.
No, I've seen it a few times. That's actually pretty popular to run with your weather user in this format, just to make sure that you keep your weather up because it's so important right now with the primals. So let's see.
So if Alicia did get her skill swap off into the Groudon, that Groudon essentially doesn't have any weaknesses because now that it has Levitate and the sun is back up, it's normally it would be weak to ground and water, but it's not anymore. Oh, Groudon going for the Fire Punch on Kyogre. Wow, that's gonna knock it out as Kangaskhan is instead of Tornadus' slot. But the Trick Room runs out, so even though Alicia got the best of those of her Trick Room turns, David still has a chance to pull this off.
He's still got Smeargle in the back.
Yeah, Smeargle.
He does still have
Tornadus in
Smeargle.
the back, so this will be interesting to see what he decides to go out to. I want to say Smeargle seems like the right choice.
It feels that way. It really does. Oh man.
He does have Smeargle, but the mind games that he's going to have to play is with Alicia and her Magic Coat. So, however, there are other options that Smeargle could do. Yes, it does have Dark Void, but Smeargle can learn any move in the game, and that's what makes Smeargle so threatening, because yes, it has Dark Void, but most of the time you might not even know what it's going to do. I don't think Alicia knows Smeargle's item yet, so we'll see here if it's able to outspeed both these Pokemon. I'm sure it can. The biggest thing right now, is will Alicia go for the Magic Coat? Or will it not? Will it get the best of Smeargle?
I actually think David is going to play this match really well. They can see this one too, correct?
No, they can't.
Oh, they can't. Okay.
And the problem we saw a little bit earlier is Kangaskhan normally would be able to use Fake Out on any opposing Pokemon that could cause a threat for Smeargle. However, we did see earlier that Cresselia's Magic Coat went before Fake Out, so essentially it's a wasted turn.
Right.
So let's see. Smeargle actually switches out.
So that
For
was a
Tornadus.
really interesting play.
Well, if she uses Miracle, then that's a
Groudon
way.
goes for the Protect.
Um,
Cresselia goes for the Magic Coat.
Right.
And
Okay, as long as
Kangaskhan
he
is
hits
going to go
crits.
for the Double Edge onto Cresselia.
Yep.
You get that damage off. And is it going to be enough? It is enough to take it
that
out.
was
And
wow.
Cresselia's
Wow.
out.
Move.
Okay, you know what? That at first I kind of was confused why David, sent out Smeargle
Oh,
and then he switched
I
it
saw
out.
that coming. Like it was just like because she'd already been put to sleep. She didn't want that to happen again.
Right.
Like that's your gut instinct as a player.
So that was a really good bait that David did. That was a really cool
Brilliant.
strategy.
Brilliant.
So basically, what he did was he sent out Smeargle, right? And the same turn that he sent it out, he switched it back, and he took it back because what he wanted to do was bait Cresselia into the Magic Coat. And by doing that, by Cresselia using Magic Coat, Kangaskhan was able to pick up a knockout. And
And now that's
now
Smeargle's free to come back
Alicia
in.
is down to her last two Pokemon, Groudon and Xerneas. And we did see the Groudon protect last turn. So I'm not surprised if any of these Pokemons decide to target Groudon. Tornadus is also a fast Pokemon. I don't know if it has enough special attack to one-hit KO either of these Mons right now, but it still has good support. We could see a taunt here just in case Alicia wants to try and come back with a Geomancy. And we do see the taunt actually. Because that was probably Alicia's only way to come back, was if she set up the Geomancy and swept the last mons. But let's see if Alicia actually went for the
The
Geomancy.
double edge is not enough to take out the Xerneas though, so this is gonna be tough. Oh, she did go for the Geomancy.
Wow, and Groudon goes for the Fire Punch. Is that enough? Tornadus is at full HP, but
Oh, and gets down to the
oh,
sash.
Tornadus has the Focus Sash.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so now Smeargle.
So Smeargle comes out.
Yeah, this is going to be real tough for David to come back here because it looks like his only attacking move on Tornadus is the Hurricane, and in the Sun, it's only a 50% accurate.
Is it only 50
Yeah.
with Sun?
Yeah.
Wow, so it gets lowered.
I didn't know its accuracy got lowered.
Yeah, so its accuracy does drop in the Sun, so it's going to be real tough for him to come back from this one. Looks like that Groudon is pretty much running things on the field right now.
I'm super excited to see what's about to happen.
Unless he can buy time with the Dark Void, I mean that looks like his only chance right now.
So I think that's really the problem we see here is that even though David seems to have an advantage with a full health Pokemon, he can't. It's really going to be hard for him to take the knockout because both of these Pokemon on the field are support type Pokemon and aren't really going to be doing much damage. Smeargle does have a couple options that it could do, but I'm not sure if it has the correct moves to do so. But we'll see here.
This is such an
Smeargle goes for the
exciting
Dark Void
matchup.
and it hits. Let's see if it hits both. Let's see.
Oh, so Groudon avoids attack. That
Oh.
might be the miss that Alicia needs to get back into this game.
Oh, but
Absolutely.
Tornadus goes for the Hurricane onto Xerneas and hits it, but looks like that might be on the wrong Pokemon. And Groudon goes for the Fire Punch on...
Did it target the right Pokemon? Yes, it
Tornadus,
did,
yep.
Tornadus. And we did see Smeargle outspeed the Xerneas, so I believe it is a Choice Scarf variant. So it's Smeargle's just locked into Dark Void. But we'll see here. Maybe they want to do a little bit scouting. Smeargle will do Dark Void again.
Yeah, and puts the Groudon to sleep, so this...
Smeargle does have a couple options if it's not Scarf, but it is. So
That was an exciting battle.
this is just the first game, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, this is only game one.
Should put finals, right?
Oh,
It's
yeah,
top
change
eight.
it to
You know how to do that?
Yeah. No, that's not it. I should... Where do you show me how to do that?
I think it's one of these options. Round. Click on round. No, go back to live tournament. Click on round. No, you click with this button.
There it is.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I played everyone until I started hanging out with Gamer. And they showed me the way and stuff.
Grab a chair, brother.
No, it's okay. It's
No, let's go down. They would.
No, I'll stand.
No, not that. It was before the sets. They had the
Okay, so they're getting right back into
Alright.
round two.
Round 2 is up.
you could trade that as
Yeah. No, it's not really clean to work out.
We're gonna be back soon.
You know what time it is?
You know what? This is okay. This is. I mean, is it usual for Pokemon tournaments to start at 4?
No, this one started relatively late actually.
Yeah.
I think it was the whole first round for forever.
Yeah,
And
like,
then.
Sounds like an hour.
Yeah, that's true.
well, look, you don't understand what I'm saying. Like, just like the start time for this was pretty late compared to others. Yeah. Alright, so if you're Alicia, how do you adjust?
So
Wait, Alicia won.
Alicia did one.
No, that's what I mean.
She did win.
Okay, yeah.
So how is David going to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
it?
that's what I meant.
Okay, here's how I think David's going to adjust. I think he should just leave Smeargle on the bench. There's really no point in deciding your game 2. If you're going to want to come back and you're going to want to win this, you don't want to, do coin flips right here.
Right.
Right.
With that mirror.
Especially with Mirror Coat. And that makes things even more of a coin flip, is that Dark Void already has low accuracy, that you want to play mind games with the Magic Coat, it's just not off it. It's just not the best strategy here, I think. So I think David has to just go for sheer offensive force. As we did see at the end of the last match, he wasn't able to pull things out because both of his Pokemon were support type Pokemon. But I think if David brings, maybe only one of his support Pokemon, and then both of his Primals and his Kangaskhan, then he's going to be able to create more offensive damage.
And it's true that the three together is just such a powerhouse.
So we see Kyogre and Tornadus on David's side of the field, and Xerneas and Cresselia on Alicia's side of the field. Xerneas has to be really careful right here to not fall into any tricks like Taunt from Tornadus. A Geomancy here could potentially put her into a really, really good situation. However, if David decides to use Taunt, then it's going to be a wasted turn.
She put herself in a good situation to mess with David mentally because of the fact that both these Pokemon can be taunted. So he has to decide on which one, if he wants to go for the taunt, he would have to taunt. Would he taunt Cress to stop a Trick Room? Or would he taunt Xerneas for the Geomancy? And I mean, in both of them, obviously, I think Geomancy is a little more scarier to deal with than a Trick Room, but Alicia put herself in a situation where it's like, I'm going to take control of this by doing something.
Right.
You can only stop one of us.
This is true, and I actually did remember now that Cresselia has Magic Coat. So Magic Coat is an interesting move that actually blocks Taunt. So Taunt could be bounced back to Tornadus. So
there you go.
David has to be really, really careful because Alicia could get a free Geomancy right here. I honestly, in my opinion, I don't see any risk too much involved in Alicia going for it unless David decides to double up onto the Xerneas.
Yeah.
Xerneas is pretty much the threat right now.
But I believe that the Magic Code only covers Cresselia. If she goes for the taunt onto Xerneas, I think it still would pull through.
Oh, I don't. Is
Oh,
No,
Xerneas
it-
gets the confusion.
It does
field
both.
effect.
Yeah.
It's a field effect.
Oh, it's both?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow. So David going straight for offensive, going to
Hit hard, hit fast.
Hurricane into
Takes out the
Xerneas
Xerneas.
and the Origin Pulse.
Oh,
Smart.
Cresselia goes for the Ice Beam, I'm guessing onto Tornadus.
So that's going to do some damage and break the Focus Sash. Actually, it does over 50%, but Alicia is already down. And this is an example of one turn that pretty much might be a game changer, as David was able to get a huge offensive momentum by KOing a big threat like Xerneas and doing a lot of damage to Cresselia in the process. As Alicia sends out Kangaskhan in place of Xerneas.
You know, I look at this and I think, what if she? Because I don't know, I didn't get to write down all of David's moves when I was battling him. So I saw Hurricane, and does he have Thunder Wave on?
Tornadus can't learn Thunder Wave.
Oh, Tornadus cannot learn it at all. Okay, that was something I didn't know.
Yeah, Tornadus doesn't learn Thunder Wave. I believe it has revealed all of its moves already.
Okay,
Yeah, Hurricane, Taunt,
Tailwind.
Tailwind, and I don't think we've seen the fourth one actually. But
Yeah.
let's see, Cresselia switches out into Groudon, so Groudon's going to get its Desolate Land up after it undergoes its primal reversion.
So Alicia looks like she's gonna get a really good turn here if Kyogre decides to go for a water type move again. However, we saw last match David go straight for an Ice Beam, anticipating that. But now Tornadus seems to be not going to be creating much offensive pressure unless the Hurricane is able to connect. Maybe it will go for a more supportive move right now. Kyogre is going to go for the Protect. It doesn't want to take any damage. Oh, but Kangaskhan uses the Fake Out, and that's going to take out Tornadus. Man,
That hit hard.
what a play.
Yeah.
Looks like Alicia got a really, really, really good turn here.
She did.
As she took out the main threat in Tornadus. And I think that's what David was trying to do there. What he was trying to do was maybe hope for a Fake Out into the Kyogre. And since Groudon came in, he could use Roleplay with Tornadus to get the rain back up. But unfortunately for him, things didn't work out. As we see Cresselia reveal as It's David's third Pokemon. Alicia's in a really, really good position right now. Two of the biggest threats are on the field. You got Kangaskhan and you got Groudon. These are the top two Pokemon, and they're the top two Pokemon for a reason. They can do a lot of damage, especially if Groudon's in the sun, like it is right now. And Kyogre did just protect this past turn, so we could potentially see a knockout here. David's way to maybe get back in this is to utilize his Cresselia. Maybe use a supportive move to get back onto this game.
I like his play. I like his play. And this is what me and Angel were talking about in the very... Oh, you were here too, Riley. I'm sorry. He's brought all three. He brought his powerhouse, just like you wanted him to do.
Okay, so... Oh, wow. Kingston goes for the Sucker Punch. Oh. Oh, man. So, wow. So, David actually got a very big play there, as I really thought Alicia was going to gain some momentum that turn. I thought that was going to be a game-changing turn right there, but unfortunately, it wasn't. I'm not sure what happened.
His Cresselia has gravity, correct?
I believe it does, yeah.
Yeah. So now that the Trick Room is up,
Yeah, now Cresselia just goes for gravity, and
Yeah.
Precipice Blaze just hits everything.
yes, that is a... Oh, man. At least that's how I see this playing out.
Man, so I'm really not sure why Alicia just didn't go straight for the return, especially since Kyogre wasn't going to do much in the sun and just attack with Groudon. But unfortunately for her, it seems like that was a mess up, and David gets the better turn. Trick Room is up. Groudon is on the field. It's a huge threat. It's probably going to go first, since David has a Trick Room-like team. Alicia does as well, but Groudon has a little bit less base speed than Kangaskhan.
I don't think he has any speed when I was battling against him. I'm pretty sure he has no speed in that Groudon at all.
So that's going to give him a huge advantage here. We do see a Cresselia mirror match. This takes me back to 2015,
Yeah, it sure does.
2013, 2012,
The double Cresselia stare down.
even 2010.
It's
Man,
two beautiful Pokemon gleaming right at each other.
okay, so David's going to go for the Protect here. Let's see. Let's see what he wants to do. Alicia goes for the Sucker Punch.
Yep, you called it, bro, the gravity.
Oh, there it was. There it was.
Wow.
Oh,
Ooh!
and Cresselia undoes the trick.
You know what? I love that
Great
combination.
play
Oh,
by Alicia.
And this is what you see in 2015. The double Trick Room. How many times you see people get so, like, taken aback by the fact that you're like, wait, you undid what I just did. Oh, I love it.
Wow. So, the only thing David got going for him was he was able to set up the gravity.
He really did get it off.
But now Alicia has a speed advantage back into factor. Groudon did just protect, so I'm sure we're going to see some attacks into here. But Groudon is very, very physically bulky, so I'm pretty sure it can take hits from Kangaskhan. And Cresselia isn't putting much offensive pressure right now. So I do want to see what Cresselia has in store for it right now. But even though Alicia has the speed advantage back in the hand,
Beautiful.
I feel like David has the advantage. So return's gonna go into Groudon. That does a little bit over half, but not that much. Cresselia just gonna go for the Ice Beam. Probably not gonna KO, and it's not gonna have a chance to freeze. As Precipice Blade shows its beautiful animation, it's gonna KO the
That's a
Cresselia.
helping hand combo.
Wow.
Nice.
And that's a very bulky Kangaskhan, as it was able to hang on to a helping hand Precipice Blades.
Well, again, we were talking about how her Kangaskhan is slower than regular, so she must have put it into bulking it up. That makes perfect sense.
Yes, yeah. And Alicia sends out her last Pokemon. It is Groudon. If there's anything that Alicia needs to do to get back into this game, it's these last two Pokemon, but with Cresselia being at full health and
By pulling off gravity, does that mean David's Cresselia now can be affected by ground moves?
Yes.
So he put himself in a situation now where he can't use his own levitate.
Yeah.
That is true, actually. That is true. So if Alicia wanted to go for any ground type moves, it would in fact hurt the Cresselia.
Yeah. Our
But-
viewers here are saying, "Go trolls all the way." It's interesting to
Trolls
see. Yeah, it's interesting to see what you guys think. Always throw your comments. Let us see how you feel. What do you think's going to happen? It's nice to see that you guys really get into the battles that we get to experience firsthand.
Yeah, and I do agree with you, Rewind. I'm sure he does have this. There's really not much Alicia can do, but we know that Kyogre is in the back, so... And Groudon did reveal its move to be Earthquake, so if it wants to fire off any Earthquakes, it's going to be attacking to its own Kangaskhan. As Kangaskhan goes for the return of Cresselia, I'm sure that's going to not do too much. If Groudon tries to go for any Fire-type move, which it did, it will fail. Cresselia going for the Ice Beam, probably onto the Kangaskhan. Let's see if they finish it off. And with a critical hit, it will. So David, looks like he's going to take this game, and it's going to be a 1-1.
Wow. Way to make a comeback. Excellent game.
Oh, and the water spell, which is going to be more than enough to take out that Groudon.
Most definitely.
So we got a really, really exciting best of 3 here. As both players are able to take one game away from each other.
And that's how finals should be. That's how finals should be. And so we look at the two players right now, and they are in the zone, guys. They are just there. They're looking at each other and just saying, "This is it. It's about to get real."
Mm-hmm. And it is.
Alicia has that composure. I love watching her battle. She just is so classy when she does it.
I've got to say, Alicia's pretty much, I would say, the opposite player as me, as I am very, very emotional. I don't know if you guys see, but I tend to rage a lot and yell and scream and cry.
You should have seen him in Phoenix. That was amazing. We heard him through the whole convention center.
Yeah. But Alicia is very quiet. She keeps her composure. She's very good. Like in baseball, if the pitcher has, let's say, the bases loaded, what they want to do is keep their composure, keep their calm, keep their cool, and try to wiggle their way out of it. As we see, each player has to do that. What do you think is probably, let's say, okay, so David just won this last match, right?
Yes.
And Alicia won the first one. What do you think Alicia's strategy has to do for this last game in order to overcome her last loss?
Well, she knows. She's played both versions of David's strategy.
Right.
He had a more defensive initial start, and now he had a more offensive initial start. So I think this is now where that mental game is just coming into place, where you're like, but given the format of 2016, the drive is to hit hard and to hit home. So I think Alicia's best bet is to anticipate him doing that again. It just seems like the general vibe of the tournament. So I would, if she doesn't bring her crest this time around, because she's like, I need more offense to hit his offense. That wouldn't surprise me.
That makes sense. And if David does decide to go for a more offensive playstyle like he did in Game 2, that's a good point that you bring up, that maybe Alicia and her Cresselia is just not enough offensive pressure to match David's pressure that he's bringing to the table. So maybe we'll see the Kangaskhan, Groudon, and Xerneas like we have. But maybe like a Ferrothorn to kind of wall David's Pokemon if she wants to play that option. Or if she wants to play the option of Crobat and going for Tailwind and Super Fang support. Crobat's a really, really good Pokemon in this generation.
Yes.
Just because I think Super Fang is probably the biggest plus that it has right now. And what Super Fang does, it takes away 50% of your opponent's Pokemon. And since, we do see the Crobat come on the field.
See? That is exactly the mentality that needed to happen for this battle. We're about to see two teams hit hard, and they are going to love every moment of it.
So why Super Fang is so good in this metagame is because of the high base stat Pokemon and their huge defenses, that not a lot of people can really hit them hard. you'll see Kangaskhan, right? And you'll see some other megas, maybe like Salamence, Mawile, and then you'll see the primals. But then that fourth slot is what is really questionable. Some people like to play around with it, and there's not a lot of Pokemon that can keep up with the four or do enough damage to them. So that's where Super Fan comes into play, as it's guaranteed 50% of your Pokemon's health when it is at full health. So it always takes away half.
Right. Right. All right, here's the Mega Evolution coming on out. It's getting started. My hands are sweaty.
Yeah,
I am sitting here just like on pins and needles. I love David. Alicia's got that stature that makes her so classy as a person that you want both these players to just show us one of the best games they possibly can.
Wow. So Alicia decides to actually not Mega Evolve her Kangaskhan. I'm guessing because it's inner focus, and if David's Kangaskhan decided to go for the fake out onto the opposing Kangaskhan, then it wouldn't have flinched. But Kyogre protects anyway, and looks like David got the better turn for damaging, but Alicia has gotten the Tailwind up, and that is really, really scary, especially with Kangaskhan out on the field. You don't want to have a Kangaskhan under Tailwind because it's going to be really, really fast, really, really powerful, and we all know how bulky Kangaskhan is, especially Alicia's.
Yes,
So
definitely yes.
Alicia's team is really, really interesting. She has a lot of bulky Pokemon, and she has 2 speed control options in Tailwind and Trick Room. So she probably has to kind of EV her Pokemon in the right speed tier to make sure it matches. So it's not too fast, it's not too slow, but under Tailwind, it will be just enough to outspeed their opponent's Pokemon, as well as Trick Room, where it will underspeed and go first. So I'm really interested to see like what Alicia's Kangaskhan's speed is.
Do you feel that some players who have both combos tend to have some Pokemon ready for one and some Pokemon ready for the other? They don't find the balance point?
What do you mean?
Meaning like they'll make sure some Pokemon are max speed EV and some Pokemon are completely no speed EV. Like they'll make it so they can be somewhat interversial per strategy, either Tailwind or Trick Room.
So you're saying like if Kangaskhan had like kind of like a mid-speed tier, like it could
Like,
be
given
like,
that he
it
has-
could be interchanged.
Yes. Do you see many players do that?
I see some players do that. I know at Worlds there was a player that had a Cresselia that had both Trick Room and Icy Wind. So he probably had to play in that, kind of mid-speed tier.
They just look. That was definitely a hard hit.
Yeah. I mean, there's really nothing David could have done but switch out.
That's true.
We know that Alicia's Kangaskhan was going to go first. And David anticipated, yet again, the Groudon to come in, so it played it safe and not used a Water-type move. So Ice Beam will get a little bit of damage, probably around like 30%, 40%.
But mad kudos to David on he's done that time and time again. Called the right move for. I felt like he's used his Kyogre every right way possible. He is no novice when it comes to that Pokemon.
Yeah, but even though he did use the optimal play, we see why Groudon is so powerful. Why it's the #1 Mega, because Kyogre isn't able to use its optimal ability, optimize its damage output right there. Because you see there, if you have a Kyogre on the field doing 30-40%, that's not enough. So yes, David was able to get his offensive momentum, but we just see here why the weather is so important and how it completely stops Kyogre in its tracks if Groudon gets its sun up. But on the other hand, the reason why Groudon is so much better is because Kyogre can't do the same back. And I know we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but Kyogre's ability brings out the rain, but it doesn't cancel out one of Groudon's main moves, Precipice Blades. And Alicia does have Earthquake, so it wouldn't cancel that out anyway.
Right. But there's a little give and take too, because Kyogre will one-hit KO Groudon, where Groudon can't do it back.
That is true.
So So yes, you're definitely you're playing to one strength or another.
So, Kyogre, if it does have its weather up, it will one-hit KO the Groudon.
There's no doubt about that.
And Groudon can't do that back. As Groudon, we see here, go for the Fire Punch on Cresselia. Probably just wants to do a little bit of damage. And Kyogre goes for the Ice Beam. It's going to stay in and just get some chip damage off. But we see Kangaskhan switch out. Probably doesn't want to take any more damage. As Alicia sends out Crobat in that place. She probably just used it as death fodder, as you know, it was already at low health. Why would she want someone else to take more damage? And also with that, she probably wanted to save Kangaskhan's use of Fake Out. As we see Xerneas come out on the field, and here we see one of the top two threats, Groudon and Xerneas. We saw this earlier in Game 1 where Alicia had Groudon and Xerneas and was able to close the game out. So let's see what David can do here to try and get back into this.
This is interesting. Geomancy, yeah, you definitely. I think that was the smartest play on her part.
So Alicia goes for the Geomancy. That's going to give it a boost in special attacks, special defense, and speed. So that's going to be really fast and really powerful. But David has a couple options here. If he decided to go for the Trick Root, that means his Pokemon can go first. As Groudon is going to go for the Fire Punch. Is Cresselia going to live? It does! Wow.
That was a nice.
So
nice
Cresselia
save.
lives with 4 HP, and we do see the Trick Room.
Oh, it
Wow,
made
so
it.
this is David's way of getting back into this match. Even though Alicia was able to get the Geomancy off and become faster, now David's Pokemon is faster.
Excellent. Excellent move. You've got hard-hitting Pokemon.
So let's see how much
Kyogre's
David...
still at this disadvantage, not being able to use its full strength.
This is true. Even though Alicia's Xerneas is probably going to go last, it does have a lot of special defense now, so both the Kyogre and Cresselia aren't really threatening it much, so Xerneas might be even free to attack.
I think so. I think right now she has the upper hand, given that Desolate Land is on the field.
So Xerneas is going to go for the Protect, and Cresselia, interestingly enough, goes for the Ice Beam onto Xerneas. I'm not sure what that play was for. This Ice Beam wasn't going to really do anything at all. Okay.
That was a weird time.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure what David was thinking there. Going for the Ice Beam onto Xerneas?
I'm not
Because,
sure.
I mean, Ice Beam doesn't do much damage at all, especially if Xerneas is at +2 special defense.
Maybe just picked the
And-
move knowing it was going to be taken out.
I mean, in that situation, I would have went for the Groudon. You know, or kind of maybe protected with Kyogre, just in case Xerneas decided to attack. And Ice Beam wasn't gonna be freezing anybody here, especially with the sun out. So
That's true.
I'm really questioning that to play right there. But David sends out his last Pokemon, Groudon, and he is under Trick Room. So
That Groudon's going to go first.
yes, I believe it can go first. It probably will.
That Groudon's going to go first.
Unless Alicia has some sort of a speed tie. We know we've seen her team use Trick Room and Tailwind, but if it's both Trick Room and Tailwind, her Groudon is probably in like a mid-speed tier. So if David can get a move off that can KO the Xerneas right now, then he might have this match in the bag. Although if that is a special Groudon, Xerneas is going to be able to take some hits here. We did see Precipice Blades, and now it does come out. So that should be enough to KO Groudon, and it does connect with the Xerneas. It looks like it's not enough. And Kyogre, it can go for a move right here. Ice Beam, probably not going to be enough to KO it, even with a critical hit.
Now with the special
Xerneas is going to
defense.
go for the Moonblast,
Oh,
though.
there you go. Let's
That
hit
should
hard.
take out... Oh, but she goes for the Groudon.
That's interesting. The Kyogre would have been the better play.
So he's like, alright, I'm gonna send everybody else.
Well, now he got the fake out. Maybe he can go.
Okay.
That probably put it in
Maybe-
Sucker Punch range.
I see what Alicia is thinking here. Because Xerneas and Kangaskong are her last two mons, they can't really do much damage to Groudon, so she probably wanted to get as much damage off as possible. David is still in Trick Room, though. I believe this is his
still
third
is.
turn.
So with the fake out coming right now, to try and she could protect her Xerneas to try and postpone that or try and run out the time for the Trick Room.
Yeah, but I believe David has two more turns left.
Given Moonblast's power right now, will it one-hit KO Kyogre?
Oh, it should definitely one-hit KO Kyogre, especially after +2.
Right.
He dropped one and added two.
But I have seen some Kyogre live those hits because it is very special, defensively bulky. I'm not sure if David is. I mean, I'm going to say this quietly because I don't think Alicia knows, but I did play David a little bit earlier, and his Kyogre has no defensive.
Yeah, given that I'm reliving my battle with him, I don't remember that being an issue. Because my, actually, yeah, I just don't remember it being defensive. Okay, let's see
Wow.
what we got.
So David pretty much out-predicted Alicia that turn, as she went for the return straight into the Groudon and basically burned off her Protect with Xerneas. And David has his last turn of Trick Room.
So now it looks like it comes down to whether the Sucker Punch would be enough to take out Groudon. Because if it gets off the Precipice Blades, it's pretty much game over.
That's true.
And I'm not sure if it is, because we saw Return earlier do a little bit over half, and we see Groudon is a little bit under half, so and Sucker Punch does
And David's
a lot less
Groudon
damage
is
in
bulky.
return. Very bulky and
is
very
bulky.
physically defensive.
I think David definitely called the end game right.
So,
That Moonblast to Groudon might have cost her the game. But
I'm not really sure if it mattered
if it would
that
have
much,
one-hit KO'd,
because let's say she went for the Kyogre. She does get fake out pressure with Kangaskhan, but then Groudon is at full health, and then it can protect, right? And then it's going to be at full. So basically, what would happen if she went for the Moonblast and Kyogre? We'd be in the same situation right now, but Kyogre is not on the field, but Groudon is at full health, and we see the last turn of Trick Room. So basically, it would have came down to whether David would have hit his Precipice Blades or not. Xerneas goes for Protect, but it fails, and Precipice Blades looks like it's gonna hit both of its Pokemon, and David Trolls
takes the
McGee, your very own stream hoster, will take this game in a best of 3
one.
series. 2 games out of 3. We see both Primal Evolutions on the field. Wow.